Well, good morning again, everyone. I'm so happy to be back here. I love the energy of this community. I love the discussion question at the beginning. You guys basically did my sermon, so. But, when Reverend Guy asked me to speak, I asked him generally, well, what's going on? What are you talking about? And he said, well, I'm working through Advent. I can definitely work through Advent. I grew up in a Christian home, so that's something that during this time of year I think about. We don't, my partner and I don't celebrate those traditions at our home anymore, but I do think about what it was like when I was younger, and my parents always made sure that we had dinner together. That was one of the things that was really important. If we could do it, if there weren't events going on, we had dinner together. And during this season of Advent, we would have the Advent wreath that sat at the center of the table. For those of you that don't know, it has 5 candles, 3 blue, 1 pink, and then at the center is the white candle, or the Christ candle, which is lit on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then further until Epiphany, the beginning of January, they're lit. All 5 candles are lit. And so I think about that during this time of year. This is the 3rd week of Advent, and that candle is the pink candle. Some traditions it's a lighter blue, but in my family it was pink. The rest of them were a darker blue color. And this is the moment of realizing that even in the season of solemnity, where we're really pondering these deep things of the approach of divinity coming back into the world and represented as a child or as light, that we can have joy, we can experience joy in this time. And so the pink candle is the joy candle. And so I thought, well, let's talk about joy today and what that's like. What I really like about this part of the season is that they talk about, and they talk about it again on Christmas Eve in the Christian churches, but that heaven is so excited about this approaching birth that they just can't contain themselves anymore. And so they break through this medium between heaven and earth, and they sing to the shepherds out in the fields. They got to tell somebody, and so they go find these shepherds and sing. But it's this, in my Hollywood imagery, in my mind, the heavens are full of the light of, the angels all singing and breaking forth into joyous song, announcing the birth, the impending birth that's coming. Also, we're in this period between Halloween, some traditions call it Samhain, where the light is really dipping down and down and down and down, and we're approaching Yule, where again at solstice the light is going to make a visible return, and in the winter, in these colder months, is actually when the light is returning to us, and the days become longer. It's actually fall, autumn, when the days are getting shorter, but at that solstice point, when we start to make that shift again toward the light, we can noticeably see the sunrise happening further and further north on the horizon. And for me, that's a joyful thing. I don't think I was ever treated for, seasonal affective disorder, but I definitely notice when the days are longer, that I like a long day. I like a lot of sunshine. And when it's getting dark at 3:45, I'm not as happy, but I tell myself it's okay, it's just a few weeks, coming on the 21st, the days are going to start getting longer. But that's something that I really appreciated that was a part of the discussion this morning, is that joy is always there. It's always there. It's always around us. Something that we understand in the context of science of mind as religious scientists is that it's a quality that exists within us. Joy is a quality. So it's a choice that we can make to tap into that. It's here within us. Nothing exists outside of that one presence, that one life. The teaching symbol is around, I think it's on the front doors, but that dynamic symbol exists within a circle. Nothing exists outside of it. So this joy that is a quality of God is always coursing through us, existing around us. And we have the choice of participating in that energy and looking for it, seeking it out, recognizing that it is here. It's not something external, although we can find it outside. It is truly something that is a part of who we are and what we are. And so we can be welcoming to that presence. We can be welcoming to that quality of joy, along with all of the others, abundance and love and peace and prosperity, all of those qualities that are there. But specifically for me, during this time, I tap into that quality of joy that exists within me. It's innate to my being. In the section of mental equivalence, Ernest Holmes in the textbook is talking about no mistakes, that when we think of mistakes, we can bring ourselves into a different type of mental equivalent that we want to experience in our lives. And he says we can say to ourselves, everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. He says we can encourage ourselves to know this, to see it, to feel it, and to be it, to exist as it. Do this every day for a few minutes. We should all do this until the time comes when it's no longer necessary. We will know that that time has come because our demonstrations will have been made. It will just be the existence that we have. We don't have to seek it out. We will eventually, as we practice it over and over and over again, it becomes a part of our nature, becomes one of those habits that becomes just who we are, how we exist in this place of joy. And I have to caution myself because sometimes I think I get into this, I can talk about the philosophy, and then there's the reality that's going on around me, right? And am I recognizing that there is a reality around me, or am I just being Pollyanna? And saying, well, it's okay, just look for the joy. Joy's there, and spiritualizing away that there's stuff going on in the world, there's stuff going on in my life. But where am I giving the weight to? Because if I'm existing in that, what Ernest Holmes called the race consciousness, the human race consciousness that just kind of floats here in the middle and is kind of weighted toward the down, but I'm not going to be getting the kind of reception that I want. But if I accept that, that's what I'm going to experience. But it's the awareness of how I am employing my I am statements, how I am employing my confirmations, my affirmations, my negations, which are still received by the law and answered with a yes. I am such and such, or I can't because, I don't have, I wish I had, if only I were. All of these things, I can exist in that place, and the law will say yes. Yeah, you don't have. You don't have. I agree with you. Here's some evidence of how you don't have. But if I say I know that exists, that joy exists, that boundless experience of joy is mine right now, if I practice that and I recognize it and I affirm that in my life, eventually it aggregates, right? And I begin to see the evidence of that as the proof of my life. Pulling myself out of the constant information cycle. And I don't even call it news. It's just information that is just constantly there. These little devices that are pinging and binging at me all of the time. And what am I putting my consciousness into? What am I paying attention to? Where am I going when I love YouTube? I get stuck in it. I go down this little rabbit hole of, click on that one and click on that one. And the goodness is there too, within all of these platforms and things that are out there. The goodness exists. They don't exist outside of that circle of creativity. There's goodness there, but where am I putting my consciousness to? What am I paying attention to? And what am I reaping back from that? Am I seeking things for myself that are encouraging an experience of joy in my life? Or am I paying attention to the entertainment that is based on ridicule and division? I want to feel that unity, that quality of unity within me as the truth of my being. And I find myself participating in duality quite often, more than I would like to admit. But I'm in a safe space here. I think I can tell you that I do that. These are temporary experiences that give the illusion of permanence. The news cycle wants to tell us to be outraged because this is what it is, and if you're not engaged in this, then what are you doing? You know, that it is geared toward making us, drawing us into that, and we can go into a whole other reason as to why they do that, but I think it's just what it is. So where am I directing my consciousness? What am I anticipating in this time of Advent, in this time of the sun going down and coming back to me? What am I anticipating? What am I welcoming? Where is my consciousness in this? In that same section of the textbook, Ernest Holmes says, I can tell myself there is no limitation, poverty, want, or lack. I stand in the midst of eternal opportunity. I stand in the midst of eternal opportunity, which is forever presenting me with the evidence of its full expression. That was something that was shared this morning. It's all around me. What am I putting my focus on? What am I paying attention to? It's all around me. I am joy, peace, and happiness. I am the spirit of joy within me. I am the spirit of peace within me, of poise and of power. I am the spirit of happiness within me. I radiate life. I am life. There is one life, and that is my life now. What am I responding to? What am I reacting to? During this time after the Annunciation, where the angel has told Mary that she's going to be having the baby, and she says, oh, and by the way, your relative is experiencing a miracle too. In her old age, Elizabeth, thank you. Elizabeth has, she's going to have a baby too. And so Mary goes to visit her, and as soon as somebody says, hey, Mary's here, the baby jumps for joy in Elizabeth. Now, taking that in a metaphysical way, that little baby was John the Baptist, would be born and then become John the Baptist. And in Fillmore's metaphysical dictionary, John the Baptist represents that within us that faces the light, that is looking toward the light, welcoming the light, saying the light is here, the light is coming, you can experience this light. And of course, baby Jesus represents the Christ consciousness within us, that which is the direct connection to that divine source that is within us, that we can express and be and experience. So what part of me jumps for joy when it's announced to me within myself that Christ's presence is within me? How can I experience that and cultivate that and be a part of that during this season of seeming darkness? We can take that into a larger metaphor. Is there a season of darkness that has power over my consciousness? Or am I engaging in the light? Am I engaging in the prosperity of spirit within me as a reality of my being? So what can I do? What can we do to practice? There's a few things that we can do. We can take time, like we said this morning during this session, engaging in activities that bring us joy. Spending time with animals, spending time in the garden, spending time doing those things that make us feel joy, where we go into that state of what the psychologists call flow, where time disappears and we can just engage in it and the hours just disappear. It could be art, yoga, dancing, whatever it is, going to the museum, anything that cultivates this sense of wonder and awe and joy in our lives. And there is the practice of counting our blessings. It is one of those things that when you start, this is good. Oh, well, that's good too. Well, what about this? In one room, you can do that. And just find all of the good things that are happening within that room that bring you joy. And then extending that out into the house, into the neighborhood, into life, and just keep going. I guarantee you, if you focus on counting your blessings, you'll see them multiply, right? It is one of those things that we can engage in as a practice. And maintain those practices as best as you can. Find ways, like there's the center in San Diego where I can go get yoga for free if I don't believe I have the money for it right now. There's ways to engage in community and in life that supports this cultivation of joy. Also, one of my favorite practices is the metta practice, the metta prayer. There's a few different variations. But we can just go through it very quickly. That right now, right here in this moment, I am full of loving kindness. You know, maybe full of loving kindness. May I experience joy. May I experience peace. And then bringing to mind somebody else in the world that I don't have a direct connection with. May you experience loving kindness. May you experience joy. May you experience peace. And then somebody that I'm challenged with. May you experience joy. May you experience love. May you experience loving kindness. And going through this, because it's cultivating this recognition that if I can experience it and if you can experience it, then it becomes a reality in both of our lives, no matter what my opinion is of you. Sometimes I have a challenge with people in this world, and it's just really, what an interesting child of God that I'm having a perception problem with right now. You know, I'm not above or below them. I am with them in this creative existence of life. And again, sharing joy. That was something else that was brought up this morning. Joy shared multiplies. You know, so being in that presence where we can share it with others. And it doesn't have to be, in this time of commercialism, does not have to be something financial or something that is purchased. It can be something that is simply shared, a meal. Come on over. Let's make a big bowl of soup or salad or a meal and have a good time together and just talk and play cards or whatever it is. Be together. Let's be together. Let's share in this joy. Because we all have gifts that are within us. The gentleman shared it this morning, their gift of music. Other people have gifts of creation and in various other ways. People have the gift of accounting that they can share with during tax season. You know, there's gifts that are built into us, inherent within us, that we can share with the world that help create this joy. So we can remember that joy is an inherent quality that is born within us. When we're pulled by the conditions of this world, we can tap into that divine quality within us through meditation, through prayer, through participating in community, through repetitive recognition of the truth of it in our lives, by seeking the evidence of it. And what we pay attention to grows and becomes evident in our lives. So if we're paying attention to this joy, to these qualities of God that exist within us, they'll show up more and more and be our reality. And we have practical ways to cultivate an experience of joy in our lives. We can be the presence of loving kindness and know it for others. We can share the joy. We can participate in activities that help us cultivate and remember the truth of it. So I do want to finish with an affirmation that was at the end of this section that I was working through in the textbook in Science of Mind, and this is in the current version on page 293. So affirming this, I know that I am now at the threshold of all good, wisdom, and truth. All the good I can embody is now mine. I have only to open the portals of my soul and accept that which is ready to express through me. I expect fully and emphatically the answer to my prayer today. Right now, do I possess the joy I so greatly desire? I remove my fear of lack and negation, for it is the only barrier which stands in the way of my experience of good. I alone can remove it, and I do remove it now. In this moment, my good comes to me, enough to spare, to give and to share. I can never be exhausted. My good can never be depleted because that source from which my good comes is inexhaustible. Today, in this moment, the law responds to my thought. My word is one of affirmation, rising from the knowledge that the good, the enduring, and the true are eternalities in my experience. I cannot be apart from that which is my good. My good is assured me by God, the indwelling essence of my life. So joy to the world. Peace to you. May you experience more joy and recognize the innate joy that exists at the core of your being during this season of light. Thank you so much.